Good evening, Nghi. Welcome to your IELTS writing class. This is lesson number 14. Today we focus on Unit 7, writing. Right, so let's have a look at the content of the unit. And first off, thank you for sending in your homework. I didn't have time to correct it quickly, but be assured I will send you feedback soon. Okay, so Unit 7 is television, news, and current affairs. Nghi, can you please read the writing contents, please?
In this unit, you will learn how to describe percentages and fractions, describe a pie chart, improve your grammatical range and accuracy, use the passive voice.
Thank you very much. So the focus of Unit 7 is, again, IELTS writing task 1. However, the task type is pie chart. So before we go into detailed practice, I'd like you to have a look at a pie chart and discuss the pie chart as well as analyze the sample answer. So here it is. Songy, can you also read the title of the pie chart here?
The pie charts below show the comparison of different kinds of energy production of brands in 2 years.
Thank you very much. So the 2 years are 1995 and 2005. Okay, and they compare energy production in France. So the different kinds of energy production. So what are the kinds, please?
There are coal, petrol, gas, and the others.
Coal, petrol, gas, other, and there's one
And
more.
nuclear.
That's right. So we have coal, gas, petrol, nuclear, and other. Okay, so these two pie charts do have time change. So what would you say about the different kinds of energy production? Meaning which one decrease, which one increase?
Uh, I think that gas, nuclear, and coal, they increase and the others are decreasing.
Good job. The other meaning petrol. Okay, I think there's a spelling mistake there. Petrol with an L at
Petrol.
the end. Yes, petrol with an L at the end. Okay, well done. So we've just looked quickly at the trend in this pie chart. It's obvious, right? So let's have a look at I'm sorry, not obvious. Obvious is the adverb that you should not, adjective and adverb you should not use in IELTS writing test 1. Rather than that, I say it's noticeable, it's striking. Okay, so now I'd like you to spend some minutes, read silently the sample answer, and then we'll analyze it together.
I finished.
Okay, thank you very much. So, just together, let's just have a look quickly at the introduction and overview because they are normally the easiest and quickest to write. So the introduction, what is used in place of show?
Illustrate.
Thank you. What is used instead of percentage?
Proportion.
That's right. And the rest, you just mix up the word phrases so that they are synonyms and paraphrases. Okay. Now let's move on to the overview. Can you tell me how many sentences are there in the overview?
There are 2 sentences in the overview.
Thank you very much. It starts with overall, which is standard for overviews. And the first part of the overview, what does it do, please?
It summarize all the energy production.
For both years, right?
Yes.
Good job. What about the second part, the second sentence?
It shows that there are only small changes that takes place during 10-year period.
Thank you very much. So this is also another method for you to approach the overview of this chart because there's minimal change, right? So you don't have to say in too much detail, like which one increased and which one decreased. However, you do have to do a little bit of math. So the most significant source of energy were gas and coal, which together accounted for over half the production of energy, while nuclear and other kinds of energy sources generated the least amount of energy in France. Okay, so now let's move to the body paragraphs. How does the teacher, Miss Liz, how does she organize her 2 body paragraphs, please?
For the first one, she described the gas and the coal, and the second one she described all the others.
Why do you think she does that? What is the logic behind this division?
I
of-
think gas and coal accounted for like the largest proportion, and the others accounted for a relatively small proportion.
Well done. Okay, so I find that you've seen the logic. Well done. So now let's look at the language. So what kind of verbs does she use to say take up?
Comprised.
That's right. Energy produced by coal comprised of 29.80% in the first year. Okay, and instead of take up, comprise of, and account for. So those are common verbs you can use to report percentages and proportions, right? So account for, comprise of, and take up. So instead of those verbs, what other verbs does she use to talk about the percentage of these energy production forms? So what are the ways? What are the ways that she used to describe the percentages instead of comprise of?
Generated.
That's right. Good job. Well done. So you see, because the nature of this data is the energy production. So the energy production, for example, gas, they generated 29.63% of energy production. So generate is actually a verb that is used in a very specific context. Is when you use to talk about energy production. So produce, right? To generate, to produce. So there you go. In in your report, please feel free to be flexible when you use verbs and nouns to describe the data. So like I said, instead of take up, we have account for or comprise of. And now specifically to this writing, it talks about energy production. So you can say sources of energy, account for, production of energy, other kinds of energy sources, generated the least amount of energy, energy production, and yeah, comprise of, generate, and so on. Remember that the language used should be flexible. You should not always say like accounted for, accounted for, accounted for, right? You should vary your language, especially the use of verbs and nouns. So that I want you to pay attention to language use, right? And what is the discourse markers to link paragraph, body paragraph number 1 and body paragraph number 2, please?
With regards to.
That's right, with regards to the remaining methods of producing energy. So not energy production anymore, right? Methods of producing energy. So here you see another paraphrase. So pay attention to the language. It's really flexible. Yeah, this is a band 9 example. There was an approximate 5% growth. So that this is also very good use of adjective and noun. So not like it grew up to approximately, right? So there was an approximate 5% growth in production. Okay, now in this body paragraphs, what are the two discourse markers are used to show similar and differences? So body paragraph 1, what discourse marker is used to show similarity?
Likewise.
Very good. And differences in body paragraph 2?
On the other hand.
That's right. Okay, so you see a very clear and standard structure there. Okay, so we've looked at the language of the report. Do you have any questions about this report?
No, I don't.
Okay, so one final thing I want you to notice, besides using verbs and nouns flexibly to describe the changes or the concepts in the report, I want you to pay attention to language for percentages. Yeah, so this report has used quite a lot of specific numbers. However, at the end of the paragraph, you see, instead of specific numbers there, the teacher gave a fraction. So petrol, on the other hand, was the only source of energy which decreased in production from 29.27 in 1995 to around a fifth in 2005. So you see 19.55 is nearly 20%, and 20% is around a fifth. Sorry, 20% is a fifth. So then for pie chart, remember you can use fraction, a fifth, a quarter, a third, and so on, to use in place of specific numbers. Okay, so here are some tips for pie chart. Just have a look. Okay, so for pie chart, always highlight the largest and smallest proportion. If there are two pie charts in different time periods, you must highlight the key trends or changes. Use pie chart language such as account for, comprise of, represent, and for this task, generate. When we talk about energy, the phrase units are measured in should be used when the units have not been stated in the previous sentence. So there are some tips for pie charts. Okay, I hope everything is clear. So this sample is a very good one. And remember to read it again whenever you have time. Okay, so let's go back to Unit 7, Television, News, and Current Affairs, and practice writing. Okay, so we have a pie chart here. The pie chart represents the main way of finding out the news by adults in the UK in 2015. Predict which section of the charts represent TV. Sorry, let me just highlight TV, radio, print and online and not specified, and explain your predictions to a partner. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories of ways of finding out the news. 1 is this color, 2 is light blue here, yeah. 2 is orange, 3 is black, 4 is yellow, and 5 is dark blue. So can you spend 1 to 2 minutes and guess which section is which? So let's have a look at the largest part here, the number 1 here. What do you think it is? TV, radio, print, online, or not specified?
I think it's TV.
Okay. What about the equally large part here, number 3?
I think it's online.
Probably. And what about the smallest part? What do you think?
Not specified.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, thank you very much. So now we have A, B, C, D, E in exercise 2. They are descriptions of the pie chart. So I'd like you to look at them and then match them with the sections of the pie chart. Okay, so you have 3 minutes for this.
I finished.
Okay, thank you very much. So only 2 minutes. Well done. All right. So what do you think of the pie chart? What are the sections?
I think number 1 is 3. A is number 3.
Okay, A is number 3. Just over a third of people access news online. Well done. So online, like you guessed, right? Okay, and B?
B is 1.
Okay, the largest proportion of people, about 40%, watch the news on TV. Yeah, so B is 1, A is 3. So they are the blue, light blue, and the black sections. Okay, only a tiny minority did not specify how they find out about the news. C, please.
C is 2.
Like you guessed, right? Good job. Radio is the least popular way to get the news at just 7%.
5.
Yes, dark blue region. Approximately 15% of people read the news in print.
Use for.
Yes. Okay, well done there. So you got the sections correct. What about you? Where do you get your news from? Okay, so let's talk about the types of news that interest you, the different sources you use, and why you use them. Okay, so Nghi, you can answer the question using the ideas in exercise 3, please. So for example, for me, I'm interested in news about, let me see, I'm interested in news about celebrities and famous people and people who make changes, positive changes in the world. So I sometimes read the news through social media, like on Facebook. Yeah, they have pages where they share inspiring stories of people who create amazing changes for the better in the world, around the world. So that's one place. Another place I often get news, especially with research papers and with people doing good in the world. Well, I think I get news also on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a social media site for professionals and people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk and so on. They do post. They do post about their success stories or the campaigns they are running on LinkedIn. Yeah, I use these sources because they are quite convenient. I mostly use Facebook to share news and connect with my friends. So I get news there as well. So I use them mostly because they're convenient. And as for LinkedIn, well, they sometimes share news directly into my email inbox. So I don't have to open a separate website to access news. Okay, so what about you, Nghi? Where do you get your news from?
I usually get my news from like a variety of social media, and the types of news that interest me most is, I think it's related to science and technology, because I really like staying updated to the new tech uh innovations, and like the majority of the world events, because they help me understand how fast the world is changing. I also get up to date like to the transportation, like the where is the traffic congestions happens, and I see some like traffic accidents. Uh, and I usually get the sources from like BBC News, Animal Planet, Discovery, or VN Express, uh, because they provide reliable information. I also follow some like educational YouTube channels for like deeper uh, analysis and studies. I choose these sources because they are convenient, up to date, they provide accuracy, and while social media gives me access to real-time reactions and diverse options. Yeah.
Good job, Nghi. So it looks like both of us access news online through online media like social networking sites and YouTube. Okay, yeah, it seems like it's in the area where printed news, like newspapers, are becoming obsolete, right? Okay, because now online you can get fast and reliable sources of news. Good job, me. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, so this is a pie chart, and in pie chart, you normally have to describe the proportion of the data. All right, so now when we describe proportion, we use percentages and fractions flexibly. I'd like you to practice exercise 4, match the percentages with the descriptions, okay? So remember, when describing the data in pie charts, use a variety of ways to describe the numbers. For example, use a mixture of percentages and fractions to show the range of your language. You can also use modifiers such as almost, just over, approximately, if the figures are not exact fractions. Okay, so let's complete exercise 4. When you finish, feel free to open your microphone and share with me your answers. Thank you.
I finished.
Thank you very much. So let's have a look. 20% is?
Is a fifth.
Good job. 77%?
About 3/4.
Very good. So what is exactly 3/4, please?
It's like 75%.
That's right. Okay, 92%?
Approximately 9 out of 10.
Very good. 31%?
Just less than a third.
So what is around a third, please?
Is around 33%.
Very good. Well done. 24%?
Almost a quarter.
Good job. So a quarter is 25 and this is 24. So almost. And 48%?
A little under half.
Good job. What about 52%?
A little more than half.
Yes, you got a
Over
little,
half.
right? Yes, that's right. That's better. A little over a half. Okay, so remember we have under, right? And the opposite of under is over. So remember, if 48% is a little under a half or half, but a half is more natural, okay? So around 52 or 51% would be a little over a half. Okay, so remember under and the opposite over. Okay, good job, Nghi. Let's continue. So now we are doing the opposite. We match percentages with the fractions and descriptions, right? Now we have fractions now. Please write the fractions as percentages. Okay, I'd like you to do this and send your answer in the chat box. Thank you.
I have sent those.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, so 4/5. Oh, sorry, I didn't make this clear. So you're writing the fractions as percentage. what you are writing in the chat box are the fractions themselves. Okay, so what you wrote in the chat box are the fractions themselves, just written as number. Okay, so for example, 4/5, you have 4/5, right? And 2/3, you have 2/3. However, what you wrote are just numbers of the fractions here. Okay, what I want is percentage. So for example, 4/5 is 80%. Okay, so I'll write example here. Right, so 4/5, because a fifth is 20%, so 4/5 is 80%. Do you see my point?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so please turn those fractions into percentages.
I have sent that again. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Yes, so 4/5 is 80%, 2/3, 66, a tenth, 10, 2/5, 40%, and a quarter, 25%. Good job, Nghi. So remember, fractions, meaning you have the numbers over a number, right? Like 4/5. Okay, and percentage is like out of 100. Yeah, how many percent? Right, so you can use those fractions to write description for exercise 6. Okay, so the pie chart in exercise 6 shows the frequency with which adults in the US find out the news through social media. I'd like you to describe each section. So the blue, so never, orange, hardly ever, black sometimes, and yellow often. Okay, so I'd like you to describe the frequency with which adults in the US find out the news through social media. However, the task requires you to describe each section without using the numbers. You can use the modifiers in the box where appropriate, and you can also use the fraction in exercise 5 if you need to. Okay, so then please describe the frequency which adults find out the news through social media in the US without using the exact number in the pie chart. Okay, so my suggestion is I'd like you to use the modifiers and the fraction because we cannot use the percentages, right? So we use modifiers and fractions. Okay, are you clear on this? Do you understand this exercise?
I do. I need to type that in a chat box?
Yes, please. And write complete sentences. We're practicing, okay? So please write complete sentences.
Dạ con gửi rồi.
Okay, thank you, Nghi. Let me see. Right. Almost of 2/5 of adults in the US never read news on social media. Good job. A little under a fifth hardly ever access news on social media. Good job. So instead of read, you say access. Approximately a quarter of people sometimes get their news from social media, so get their news. And just under a fifth often find out the news from social media. Great job, Nghi. So you did really well, not only using the correct modifier, the approximation language, okay? So these are modifier and specifically they are approximation language. And not only that, you use the correct fractions and you use the verbs in a variety of ways. Good job. So not only find out or read, you say access and get the news. Good job. Well done. So that's it for lead in. So in lead in, we looked at percentages and fraction. And remember that to vary your language, you should use them flexibly. Sometimes specific numbers and percentages, sometimes fractions and modifiers. Okay, so in IELTS writing task 1, you may have to describe a pie chart. Sometimes a single pie chart will not provide enough data for 150 words, so you may get 2 or even 3 pie charts. Alternatively, you may get a pie chart along with a bar chart or other types of graph. So as with any graphs or bar charts, it is important to describe the key information revealed by the data. Rather than just giving a list of numbers, you must include some data to support your description. You can select the most significant one and make comparisons, okay? You also must begin with an overview. So remember the standard structure: introduction, overview, and body paragraphs. Okay, so now, Nghi, I'd like you to read the task number 7, please.
The pie charts compare ways of accessing the news in the UK and Brazil. In pairs, discuss what the key features of the data are.
Okay, thank you very much. So what are the ways of accessing the news, please?
I think online is the main way of accessing the news.
Okay, sorry. Just firstly, just go through with the basic. What are the ways of accessing the news in the chart? So we have TV.
TV, radio, print, online, and not specified.
That's right. So there are 5 groups of data here. Okay, so let's have a look at UK. What are the 2 most common ways in the UK to access news?
It is through TV and online.
Thank you very much. TV online, with TV at 41% and online at 35%. So what is it for Brazil?
There are also TV and online.
However, what are the differences here?
People in Brazil seems to access online more than TV.
Yes, and the reverse was true for the UK. Okay, what about print? Which country uses print sources of news more often?
The UK.
Yes, that's right, UK. And what can we say about radio and not specified?
Very few listen to the news on radio, and only a minority did not specify how they find out about the news.
Okay, however, which country uses radio more?
The UK.
That's right, the UK. Okay, good job. So we have print, TV, print, radio, and not specified, all being higher in Brazil compared with, in the UK compared with Brazil, right? However, the percentage of people using online sources of news is much higher in Brazil. Okay, thank you. So now I'd like you to look at a sample answer and find, the overview, the percentages of fractions, language of comparison, introductory concluding sentence, and actually these are all basic features. I think you can find them yourself, okay? But I'd like you to focus on number 6, higher level synonyms for the words and phrases in number 6. Okay, let me just view 2-page. All right, I'll just copy the pie chart. Just a moment. Okay, so, oops, the question is covered for it. Okay, so I'd like you to just read the sample answer in exercise 8 and yourself. Find the introduction, overview, conclusion, percentages, fractions, and language of comparison, and really focus on exercise 6, higher level synonyms for these 6 phrases here. Okay, so you have 5 minutes for this.
I have finished.
Okay, thank you very much. So can you tell me some high-level synonyms for these words? Main, please.
Principal,
Good job. Principal ways. Generally.
broadly,
Sorry, can you say that again?
broadly,
Yes, broadly. Okay, sorry, let me just, I think it's a bit difficult to highlight. Okay, anyway, broadly is here. Okay, key.
most prominent,
Yes, the most prominent. One of the key features, right? One of the most prominent features. Thank you. Good job. It is clear.
is apparent,
It is apparent. Preferring.
favoring,
Sorry, I'm trying to highlight the whole phrase. Anyway, it is apparent. Okay, favoring, and each one or in that order.
respectively,
Well done. Good job. So through this exercise, you know some ways to paraphrase, like instead of main, we say principle, and instead of generally, we say broadly. That's 5 minutes. Okay. And I think one important paraphrase here is for respectively. So when you have used respectively and you want to use it again, maybe you'd like to replace respectively with in that order. Yeah, I think in that order is also a very good synonym for respectively. Okay. All right. Good job, Nghi. Do you have any questions about this writing?
I I still don't know how to use like respectively because I have seen that it like respect tôn trọng. So
I see. So no, respectively is doesn't have any relationship with respect. Yeah, respect is like your feeling towards another person who's better than you or who's of higher status than you. But respectively is like here. Let's see. One major difference between the UK and Brazil is that over twice as many people read the news in print in the former compared with the latter. So here, read the news in print in the former. Oh, it's so hard to highlight with this book. Okay, let me zoom in for a little bit. Okay, so respectively is in that order. Okay, so the order has been mentioned. The UK and Brazil. Okay, one major difference between the UK and Brazil is that over twice as many people read the news in the former compared with the latter. So the former is the first one and the latter is the later one, the second one. And the figures are 15% and 6% respectively. So 15% is for the UK and 6% is for for Brazil. Okay, so what it means respectively is that it means in that order mentioned previously. So the order mentioned previously is the UK. So it's 15% people reading news in the UK. Okay, the black number here. And 6% people read the news. 6% of people in Brazil read the news. So 6% here. Yeah, so respectively, this is how you use it. Firstly, you use it after the numbers are written. And secondly, it's used to denote the order of number being similar to the order of the category mentioned before. Okay, so the UK and Brazil, 15%, 6% respectively. Okay, do you understand how to use respectively now?
yes, I do.
Okay, so remember, the names or the category must be mentioned before in the same order as the number being mentioned later. So here is another example of respectively. For example, I just turned off the map. Sorry, the pie chart. Okay, so for example, just over 2/5 of the people in in the UK watch TV to get their news, and 38% in Brazil, right? So there are more people in the UK who access the news through TV compared with Brazil at 41% and 38% respectively. Sorry, I just need to sneeze for a little bit. Okay, thank you for waiting. All right, so remember, respectively is to mention that the numbers follow the order of the categories mentioned before that, directly before that. Okay, so let me see. We have finished analyzing a very good sample answer, and we've looked at the higher level synonyms, and we've even explored how to use respectively. Feel free to ask me if you have more questions, okay? And now, if you still need more examples for the use of respectively, remember that you can always use ChatGPT and ask it to give more examples of respectively used in a task 1 report, okay? Now, I'd like you to move to improving grammatical range and accuracy. So previously, we've learned how to describe a pie chart using fractions and percentages and modifiers of approximation language. Now, let's move on to improving grammatical range and accuracy. So becoming aware of the areas which you make mistake and focus hard on trying to avoid them is essential to improve your GRE score. Okay, so try hard. Always leave a few minutes to analyze your writing, check for errors and correct them. Yeah, it's amazing how often you discover simple mistakes that you've made, which can reduce your GRA. However, through just simple checking, you can avoid that. All right, so I'd like you to do exercise 9. Find and correct the errors in the description of the pie chart in exercise 6. So this is another sample writing with errors. Please find and correct the errors. Okay, so for this activity, I will give you, let's say, 6 minutes, okay? If you need more time, feel free to ask me, and if you finish quickly, we'll discuss early.
I'm finished.
Okay, thank you very much. So you finished, right? So now I will copy this essay and show you the answer so you can check with your own activity. So this is unit 7, writing, exercise 9. Okay, so this is the correction. And this is the original writing with the mistakes. So let me see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 mistakes in general, 18 parts that are corrected. Okay, so just have a look at the corrections. Oh, that's time's up. Okay, so please have a look at the corrections which are underlined and compare that with your own work and tell me how many have you got out of these 18 corrections.
I only got 14.
Okay, so the rest, do you understand? Do you need me to explain any correction further?
No, I don't.
Okay, right. So do you find any new language items, new words and phrases in this writing that you find useful?
I think that is the overall.
Mm.
Is clear that less than half are using it in a regular basis.
I see. On a regular basis. Okay. One more thing I'd like you to pay attention to is the verb to access news. So you've got like to access news, to read news, to get the news. Now there's another verb here. To obtain news. So this is also a high level and academic verbs that you can use like to get something. So instead of get something, you can say to obtain. All right, so obtain news is another higher level synonym for get or access news. All right, so I just want you to pay attention to this, obtain. Okay, what else? Okay, other than that, the language is corrected. And yeah, well done. So you got most of them. Congratulations. So now let me see if the next exercise should be done in class. If not, you can make it as homework and do other important ones. Okay, so exercise 10 is for you to put the errors into the categories. Okay, so there are 8 categories and 18 mistakes in total. So you put them into category of errors for tenses, the use of nouns, the use of article, active or passive, subject-verb agreement, punctuation, capital letters, prepositions, comparatives, and superlatives. Well, this one is not that difficult, so I'd like you maybe to do that at home. Look at the writing again, and you can copy the correction, and just have a look at the mistakes and categorize the mistakes. Okay, so exercise 10 is for you to do at home. Categorize those 18 mistakes into the 8 categories here. Okay, now I'd like you to do some more important tasks. So, do you want to complete a writing practice, or do you want to learn high-level expressions? So you have a choice now to do exercise 11 or exercise 12. Which one do you want to do first?
I think I will do exercise 12.
Okay, so let's make number 10 and 11 part of homework. Okay, so I'll just quickly explain to you. 11, we have 5 pairs of sentences. So you read and find which one would score you higher, especially in terms of grammar, right? And you can read the explanation in the book to see why. Okay, so that's for homework. So now for the rest of the lesson, I'd like you to challenge yourself with a complete pie chart task. Right, so the pie chart shows the first place Germans and Nigerians go in order to access the news in a typical week. So the first place, okay? So the chart is here. Right, so I'd like you to open a file, and when you are ready to complete your writing, I will start the clock for 20 minutes. Okay, meanwhile, I'll copy this chart for you. Okay, Nghi, so have you got the file ready?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so in the chat box, I've sent you the copy of this exam skill task, so you can paste that into your writing. Okay, so you can go and do that. And when you are ready, please tell me so I can start the timer. Okay, are you ready for your work?
I am.
Okay, I'll start the timer now. So I'll call you when it is 21:34. Good luck with your writing. Okay, Nghi, hello, it's 20 minutes. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite okay.
Okay, so have you finished?
Yes, I have.
Ah, very good. Okay, so now you because it's 20 minutes and I really want to assess your writing under exam-like conditions, so only 20 minutes. Okay, so you can stop now and then email me the writing. Okay, and okay, so you can stop now and just have a look at the recap and homework message before you send me, and then we end the lesson. Okay, Nghi, so today we've looked at pie chart description. So for pie chart, normally we'll have around 2 or 3 pie chart because one pie chart, there won't be enough information, right? So we've looked at a sample answer. Remember that it follows the standard structure of introduction, overview, and body paragraphs. Also, you must use verbs and nouns flexibly to describe the data, the percentages. The second thing, you should use fractions beside percentages to describe the numbers flexibly. So those are the two features of a pie chart. Use verbs to describe the percentages like comprise of, account for, take up, and specific words like generate. And also remember to use percentages and fractions flexibly. So in the practice, we also look at describing pie chart in detail with describing percentages and fractions and improving grammatical range and accuracy. So your homework is to complete exercise 10 and 11, which help you improve your grammar. Okay, that is number 1. Number 2, you can send me the writing that you just did and as well as correct it in your free time. Yeah, when you have free time, look at it again and correct it yourself. You know, that will help you the skill of correcting your own writing. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3, complete Unit 7 writing skills modules. So 3 tasks for you. Number 1, exercise 10 and 11 in the student's book. Number 2, submit and correct your writing. And number 3, Unit 7 writing skills modules. Okay, do you have any questions that you need me to answer right away in the lesson?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you very much, Nghi. So once again, I'd like to congratulate you on your doing your homework regularly, as well as your improvement. I see a lot of improvement in your writing, especially in terms of accuracy for grammar and vocabulary. So keep it up. All right. So thank you for joining today's lesson. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next Tuesday. Okay, enjoy the night. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a good
Yes. Thank you very much. You too.